And now back to Open Mic Friday with Mike Spence and Butter.
Welcome back. Open Mic Friday. I'm here with our special guest, Andrea Bonham from out in Ione, the Pride of Ione, which is a great name, by the way.
I like it.
You are the star of the show. It wasn't Butter. Butter is just...
Oh, hardly. Butter's always the star.
Butter break.
She's way cuter.
Yeah, she's wonderful. And it's great to have her around. And it's great to spin the wheel for the prize, even though she's bored to death. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit more about Pride of Ione and the homecoming event that's coming up. It is. One of our big events is the Senior Citizen Beauty Pageant over at the Jackson Rancheria this year. And we are sponsoring a Miss TSPN. I'm going to actually get my vote in for her. But the Senior Citizen Beauty Pageant is being put on by our Senior Center and Meals on Wheels. All the donations and fees go to Meals on Wheels, which is obviously a big need right now with everything that's going on nationally. I think they cut back about 15 million meals that they give to elderly people. I don't know why that's happening nationally, but in Amador County, we can do something about it and help our Meals on Wheels program and actually go over to the Jackson Rancheria and have some fun.
That is a fun fundraiser.
Oh, it is. And you have to be 60 to enter, so don't think about entering.
Oh, yeah, you won't worry about that.
But we are, and we're going to try to get that Miss TSPN crown because you get the crown and the, it's the whole thing. But Senior Citizen Beauty Pageant is our big event coming up. It's coming up on May 25th, so there's still a couple of weeks to get your tickets and get all organized for that one. The Pride of Ione is why we have you here today, Andrea, because that is, I've been hearing more and more about it, and you've just started this organization, but you already have a number of different projects. Why don't you tell us specifically about those projects?
So we have monthly projects. So we're doing the welcome baskets for new homeowners. So I had this idea that I would like to welcome new people to the community, and when we had the big influx originally with Castle Oaks, it was kind of an adjustment for Ione, and a lot of people were, well, they don't know anything about our town, they want to change it, and my thought was, how are they going to know about it if we don't tell them? So I've been thinking about this actually for almost 8 years now. So we came up with welcome baskets, and the reaction has been unbelievable. Huge. It has been huge. The people are so happy to be in town. The other thing that surprised me, because I went to Ray Melville, who is the sales gentleman at JTS for the new homes, and I was expecting 10 baskets. I had 35. So I had a whole bunch of ladies from the Castle Oaks ladies group who I went and gave them a presentation, and they volunteered and they helped me put baskets together. And we also had Betty Searcy, whose family's been here for 4 generations, and Gayleen Hansen, who's now a DARE. So it was nice to get kind of the new folks and the old folks working together, and then we went out and delivered baskets.
I saw you had some local honey in there, which is a nice touch.
We do, yes, from Rick Finch. I love the honey. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I make my own local honey.
So you understand the whole process.
And when people get those bottles of honey, you get feedback, and they just love. They just love it. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's so nice, and it's made from the wildflowers, here in town. So one of my favorite stories. So the first people that I delivered to were just beyond thrilled to be in Ione, and every door was the same way. They were just so happy, and they're from all over, from out of state. Most of them the Bay Area or L.A. But one lady, I knocked on the door, and I heard this little tiny voice. And I listened again, and I knocked again, and I hear, "Come in." Well, I opened the door, and it was unlocked, which I thought was unusual. She had fallen down, like 30 minutes before I got there. And so I walked in. She didn't have her cell phone with her, and she couldn't get up to find it. So I found her cell phone. We called her son, who was here in Jackson. He was shopping up at Lowe's. And so I just sat in the hallway with her, and we had a great time chatting till he came.
Just picked her up, handed her the basket, and said, "I'm Andrea. We'll see you later."
Well, I wasn't able to pick her up, so I just kept her company, and we had a great time. I found out all about her. So the whole experience has just been wonderful. It's been a great thing.
It's just meant to be, that's for sure. I know projects, when they come up and you end up getting, more support from other people in the community, and you see their involvement and their participation. That must be really gratifying.
Oh, it's nice. And I've gone to all the different service clubs, like we talked about, Preston, IBCA. The Native Sons is actually, thankfully, they have become a sponsor of the Pride of Ione, and we're doing a wildflower project together because they're the poppies. So we're working through the Adopt a Highway program to add wildflowers to our entrances. We also, anything that I gather we've gone to a history expo in San Francisco, and anything that I find in my workings, I just turn over, like to Preston Castle. I had a huge printing book that actually came with my house because I live in Mr. and Mrs. Hobo's house. It was built by the Winners, and he was the printer up at Preston. So I have this giant book of all the printing they've done.
Oh my gosh.
So when I finally clean my basement, I actually just passed that stuff over to them, and also blacklight and anything I find in the archives that people don't have. One of the jobs is just to disperse it.
Right.
So.
Right.
I figure the more hands it's in, the less chance there is of it getting
Well,
lost.
I love that museum. The Preston Castle is an amazing, we have to mention the Preston Castle
huge.
Foundation. It's a great group. And I was talking about the Amador County Museum last week, and we were talking about how few museums there were actually in Amador County. I forgot to mention the Preston Castle Museum. That's a wonderful
they've started their farm.
exhibit and display. They have that beautiful safe, and they have the shoes from the boys.
Yeah.
And they used to cut out the heels, so if they escaped, the heel would leave a mark with a little V cut. And there's some fascinating
that's
things.
genius.
Oh, just track those
And
kids
simple.
down. Yeah, it was simple.
Yeah.
They were, just the history of it. But there are
Yeah.
some things in that museum that you just haven't seen anywhere else.
Yeah, and they're always working on it, so they're
I forgot
always
to
looking
mention,
for new items.
it's just an amazing museum out there, which is great.
And that's an example of the new folks coming in. The new folks are really drawn to that castle.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of that board is made up from newcomers to the community, not from the people that have been here. We tend to see it all the time, and you grow up with it, and you know it, and you know the stories.
Right.
But you don't realize when people come into town, that's really important to them.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to be, well, in the case of your family, 5, 6, 7 generations.
I think we're at 5.
5. You don't have to be multiple family
Yeah.
generation to be involved with the history, throughout the different organizations, and especially for someone like myself, it's my adopted home. So, you really feel whether or not people are welcoming, and why would a guy from the Bay Area be out promoting Amador County?
Right.
Well, it's where we live. I mean, it's my home now. For
It's your community.
10 years, and,
Yeah.
and I've adopted it. Hopefully, everybody likes me. Whether you like it or not,
You're here.
I'm going to promote the heck out of every small business in Amador County and the county itself, because it's a great place to live, and we're fortunate, to be able to, maintain that character and to have that here and protect it, and we have so many different facets to our county that. People from out of town can certainly appreciate, whether you're from the Bay Area or LA or wherever you're from. It's, easy to fall in love with Amador County. And people, making that commitment. And the people who live out in Castle Oaks, I'm sure, have been a great addition to the whole town of Ione. It's just great to have that community growing. It's one of the only parts of our county where we're building new homes.
Yeah.
And
Which is nice
adding
that
jobs.
it's a little slower rate is
slower,
nice.
but most of them have sold, and I think there are only 2 or 3 left. There's not
I think they're all gone now.
Yeah, they're not. Oh, they're all sold.
Yeah.
Good. Well, there's too late.
They'll be closing in June. Yeah.
All you people down in LA, forget it.
Yeah,
Stay
sorry,
down there.
gotta wait.
But-
And one of the other I wanted to mention real quick. One of the other items we're doing is that documentary that I talked about, and that's a way we want to include the newcomers because they'll learn the history by seeing these documentaries. So that was another way to kind of bring them into the fold.
Right. That's perfect. Well, we have plans this week. We're going out this next week upcoming to do another Visit Amador segment, and we've done those for all the different parts of Amador County.
Perfect.
We've already done Ione, but we're going to do Ione again because I like Ione.
Yay!
And we're going to go out. We're going to do the West End, the wineries out there,
perfect.
Convergence and Andrew at Tanis, and we're going to do all the wineries out there at the West End. They've invited us to come out.
That'll be
And,
great.
yeah, Monique is my co-host, and she's been doing a great job. She has like an exercise show on Mondays.
Yeah.
She's cooking and exercising. I mean, she's getting a
how
lot
fun.
of programming going on here at TSPN, and it's great to do all these different shows and be able to take the cameras out and about and go out there.
We just had a friend from Germany come over, and she was new to the area. She was coming here to work, and she decided that we have the perfect location because we took her to Yosemite, to Tahoe, to Sacramento, to San Francisco. She's like, you can get everywhere from here, but you still get all this open country, which is, in Germany, I guess that's one of the things they don't have a lot of. They either have forest or it's also so small and so built up that you don't get these wide open spaces.
Well, we got to invite everybody to stay here in Amador County who's here, and if they're visiting, they're not going anywhere. They're staying here with us, and we want to thank everybody for viewing today, and please stay tuned to more TSPN TV programming. Thanks for coming on the show, Andrea.
Thank you so much.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.